Thank you. Senator Hassan, you're recognized for your questions.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thanks to you and the ranking member for having this hearing. Thank you to our witnesses here, our nominees, for your willingness to serve. Thank your families, too, because service is a family endeavor, and we really, really appreciate it. Mr. Coker, I want to start with a question for you, and it's really following up a little bit on an area that Senator Rosen started to ask you about. Earlier this week, this committee heard from FBI Director Christopher Wray that the FBI helped a children's hospital thwart a cyber attack sponsored by the Iranian government. That target of that attack was Boston Children's Hospital, a hospital that provides critical care for families across New England, the country, and frankly, around the world. As National Cyber Director, you'd be responsible for implementing the National Cyber Strategy. If confirmed, what will your office do to help agencies and stakeholders implement the strategy in ways that will enhance cybersecurity specifically for our healthcare system?
Yes, ma'am, and thank you for the question. And that really does get to one of the key shifts that's advocated for in the National Cybersecurity Strategy. Rebalancing the responsibility for defending the cyberspace to those whom are more capable. Hospitals, as we all know, have critical functions in healthcare. They also have privileged information about individuals, and then they have, frankly, life and death type of information and systems. It's imperative that they be protected, but that major shift would take some of that responsibility, in this case, away from hospitals and shift it up to those that are more capable. For example, our partners across the federal government have threat information, specific threat information that they would share to hospital and other entities if it's credible and timely. Our partners across the federal cyberspace also have capabilities that are available to entities, in this case, hospitals, to help build and test their cybersecurity systems. Part of ONCD's responsibilities, as I see it, is to make sure that those that are less capable are more aware of the threats and capabilities that they can take advantage of.
Thank you for that. And I know that the healthcare community would look forward to continuing this work with partners like you and the agency.
As would I, ma'am.
Ms. Summerlin, I have a question for you. Obviously, federal employees work every day in service to our country, and the unions that represent them are critical partners in ensuring that agencies can attract and retain a talented federal workforce. If confirmed, how will you foster productive partnerships between unions and federal agencies to ensure that the federal government can attract and retain top talent?
Thank you for your question, Senator. And I think this is something that's very close to my heart because, in my experience working in federal sector, seeing the labor sausage getting made up close, and as an American taxpayer, right, I become concerned when I see labor disputes drag on for years. I get concerned when I see bad relationships between agencies and their employees and their unions, because what the statute contemplates and what the Office of General Counsel can do is foster positive relationships. And I think that there's a little bit of a joke. It's the Federal Labor Relations Authority, not the Federal Labor, Enforcement Authority. We are here to build relationships. And so that's what I think first and foremost is the most important thing is, and the way to do that, I think one of the best ways to do that from the Office of General Counsel's standpoint is to move through these cases as effectively and efficiently as possible. Because when these cases drag on for years, unfortunately, we haven't had a confirmed general counsel for a number of years. And so there were cases that came down that had major, huge amounts of interest in delay, all this money that was spent on delay, that as an American taxpayer, I don't like to see that happen. And as somebody who's concerned about federal labor management relations, I definitely don't like to see that happen. So what we want to focus on first and foremost is building these relationships, and we can do that through things that are not necessarily prosecuting ULPs, but part of that. And then when we do have to prosecute a ULP, we need to do it effectively, efficiently, and as quickly as possible.
Thank you for that. Mr. Razmovic, In May, I held an emerging threats subcommittee hearing on the national security threats posed by aging technology infrastructure within the Department of Homeland Security, DHS. The 3 DHS chief information officers who testified at the hearing stressed the need for financial resources to support IT modernization. A strong working relationship between the CFO and CIO, the Chief Information Officer, is critical for curtailing wasteful spending on aging technology and prioritizing investments in modern, more efficient, and effective systems. If confirmed, how will you partner with the Chief Information Officer of DHS to manage investments in IT modernization in a fiscally responsible way, including reducing the agency's reliance on legacy IT?
Senator, thank you for that question. I know our Chief Information Officer extremely well. I work with him very closely. The department has approximately an $8 billion IT budget, and as you well know, a lot of legacy systems.
Yeah.
The Chief Information Officer did recently put out an IT strategic plan that I think will be helpful here in identifying and prioritizing what are the right projects to move forward with in the near term. If I were confirmed, I would be focused on a few things. One, I would be laser focused on financial systems modernization, making sure that it stays on time, on budget. That is certainly under the remit of the office of the CFO. Right now, we have approximately 40% of our department spending occurring on those modern systems, and we need to get to 100%. Second, I would want to make sure that we are incorporating the right modernization projects through our regular budget cycles. Would work closely with the CAO on that. And number three, when it comes to issues that arise in between budget cycles, making sure that we have the tools and resources that you have helped to make available to us to include the Technology Modernization Fund and the Non-Recurring Expense Fund.
Well, I appreciate that very much, and I thank you, Mr. Chair. I will submit a question for the record from Mr. Coker about preparing for a post-quantum world and what we do as our adversaries develop better and better quantum technology, but I'll submit that for the record. Thank you very much.